So in reality, history is repeating, but this time, we don't have to be victims. They know what's coming because they build the system that's now cracking. Gold and silver aren't nostalgic.
Lynette Zang just tore the veil off what's really going on in the monetary system. Fiat currencies are crumbling, stablecoins are stepping into the chaos, and gold and silver aren't just investments anymore. They're survival gear. In this interview, Zang explains the playbook the elite are using, why the old rules don't apply anymore, and how you might have to rethink everything you thought you knew about money. Stay with us, because skipping this could mean missing the turning point.
But what if I told you that that bridge was made of just paper and debt, and every storm weakens its foundation? After Nixon removed gold from the system, money was no longer anchored to anything real. What that really means is that the corporations Jefferson warned us about now control the money faucet, and especially after the Genius Act. And when fiat dies, as it always does, a new system takes its place. And that shift always brings a crisis. Now, of course, most people think that today's financial experiments are just innovation. But what if I told you they're the same tricks, just with shinier packaging? Safe harbors, exemptions, and creative approaches are code for we're making this up as we go along, and we're experimenting all along the way. So in reality, history is repeating, but this time, we don't have to be victims. Gold and silver, well, frankly, they are that safe bridge that holds your purchasing power steady while the system shifts beneath your feet. And if we come together through the Citizens for Sound Money movement, we can rebuild something real, something fair, something that lasts. So let's take a look at that history to get an idea of what lies ahead. This long-term gold chart reveals the difference between illusion and reality. For decades, gold was boxed in by stated values, political ceilings, not market truths. But once those constraints were lifted, price action turned exponential. Look at it. And that wasn't speculation. It was revision to fundamental value. And now, as we transition into a digital financial regime, the same pattern is most likely to repeat. And when trust erodes, real assets like gold, well, guess what? It doesn't react. It reveals. Most people think that the economy just evolved. But what if I told you it was engineered? Starting with the removal of gold from the system in 1971, this chart from the Economic Policy Institute shows it plainly. Because before that shift, wages rose with productivity. Workers participated. But once we moved to a full debt system controlled by the Federal Reserve, private Federal Reserve, that connection broke. And what that really means is that the Fed, neither federal nor holding reserves, gained full control over inflation. And instead of lifting wages, they inflated assets for the wealthy. And the average worker, left behind. Shocking. But today we're seeing the same pattern. Safe harbors, exemptions, and creative approaches. These things are being legalized and are just new labels for the same old tricks. The system is shifting again. It is resetting again, but this time toward digital control. That scares me because I don't understand it. Do you? So let's anchor to sound money. Let's take back control through our global community, voting with their wallets and converting fiat money into sound money. Because the Fed's Michael Barr, well, what did he say? Many of the decisions we face today have in some form been confronted by previous generations of policymakers. Of course. And what that means is that they've seen this movie before, and I hope you're recognizing that too. Because in the 1980s, Congress deliberately lowered regulations to help savings and loans. But that miscalculation led to reckless lending, inflated risk, and a massive bust. Shocking. Sound familiar? Because as losses mounted, they doubled down, making rules even more easy. Zombie institutions were kept alive only to track and tack up bigger and bigger losses. Where do you think we are today? Doesn't that sound familiar? Because regulatory weakening kept failing institutions alive. Those are zombie companies that couldn't even pay interest on their debt for at least 3 straight years. In 2022, 24% of the firms in the Russell 3000 fit that definition. And that was before interest rates spiked. So do you think those numbers have improved? Does any of this remind you of today? Because if you're not seeing it clearly yet, that's okay. It's my job to help you see it. And our strategy specialists are here to meet you where you are and guide and help you get to where you want to be and get you really protected. That's our commitment. Because between 1977 and 1982, existing home sales collapsed by nearly 50%. And my father was a developer. I remember that. But it didn't really fully recover until 1995. That crash was triggered by overvalued real estate and soaring interest rates. My first house, I had a 12.75% loan. That was in 77. But today, what are we seeing? We're seeing record high home prices paired with the lowest sales volume since 1995. That's when it recovered. Can you see that technically? In 2024, just 4.06 million homes sold, despite a population 100 million larger than in the 80s. Buyers are priced out. Sellers are trapped in low-rate mortgages. And the illusion of strength is propped up by artificial scarcity and central bank distortions, targets for reflation. This isn't a healthy market. It's a pressure cooker. And when it blows, it won't look like 1982. It'll look a whole lot worse. Because I was there at Shearson in Sarasota on October 19th, 1987, Black Monday. I just gone off salary the beginning of October. Fresh with my Series 7 that morning, started like any other until I came back from lunch. And then all hell had broken loose. Clients were glued to the tickers on the TV screens in both rooms. Brokers were literally under their desks, not figuratively, literally. I walked back there and it was like nobody was there. I'm like, where is everybody? They were under their desks. I'm not kidding. You know, the truth is, I was lucky because being a new broker, I cut my teeth on treasuries. I cut my teeth on debt. So I wasn't getting any angry calls. Just one client in Crockett, Texas, who owned a small savings and loan that I'd been doing some business with. Well, he and all of his oil wildcatter friends, well, they couldn't get a hold of their brokers, but they could get a hold of me. So they put me on a squawk box in the center of the table, and they were asking me, what's happening with this? What's happening with that? It was the best day it could have ever been a stockbroker. Because what I saw was what happens when there is a major market implosion. And I'm telling you, everything implodes, no matter how safe you might perceive something to be. And there is a true flight to safety into gold, and back in those days, into treasuries. So it was really his oil wildcatter friends that taught me how to read the technical language of the market, because that day absolutely launched my career, no doubt about it. It was thrilling, it was surreal, it was absolutely unforgettable. And it was also the birth of the plunge protection team, the beginning of bailouts over solutions. The illusion began there. I saw it, I lived it, and I've been calling it out ever since. Because to prop up asset prices, what do central bankers do? They systematically reset the currency's value. That's actually what inflation is. They just do it slowly enough, that 2% target. So you can see between 1960 and 1980, the dollar's purchasing power collapsed. And that set the stage for the savings and loan crisis. But it didn't stop there. Nope, it sure didn't. By 2008, during the global financial crisis, the dollar had lost 95% of its official purchasing power. That means just 5 cents remained compared to the 1913 value and purchasing power. This isn't just inflation, it's engineered erosion. Why is that okay with you? And every reset pushes us further from real value and deeper into illusion. In 2008, the global financial system suffered cardiac arrest and died. The housing bubble was just the symptom, and what failed was the heart, that trust, that discipline, and real value. Policymakers didn't resuscitate it. They embalmed it. They gave it a place to live through zero interest rates, quantitative easing, so that's all that free money, and endless liquidity injections. They placed the corpse on monetary life support. Free money became the ventilator, securitized debt, the IV drip. The illusion of recovery was maintained not by healing and change, but by sedation. Markets rallied, but fundamentals flatlined. And what we're living in now isn't capitalism. It's kind of a simulation, and it's a zombified system animated by central bank interventions, masking insolvency with stimulus, because that money has to go somewhere. So this is the pulse check of a dying system, because you need to know where we are. From 1950 to 1965, the central banks were net buyers of gold, anchoring their currencies to real value, reinforcing trust in the system. That's what gold always does. But after 1965, the tide turned and gold was sold off or leased off, or all sorts of different funny ways that they could do it. It's probably why we haven't heard anything about the audits in Fort Knox, frankly, because fiat money took center stage and the illusion of stability was born. Then came 2005. The sellers became buyers again, and not just cautiously. Over 1,000 tons a year for the last, we're now in the 4th year. It looks like we're going to hit that again. That's not portfolio rebalancing. That's triage. That's central banks, the architects of fiat and inflation. They aren't hedging, they're bracing. They know what's coming because they build the system that's now cracking. Gold and silver aren't nostalgic. They're sovereign. No counterparty risk, no printing press, no expiration date. This system may be dying, but you don't have to go down with it. Let Zang Enterprises help you build a future rooted in sound money. What a concept.
So, as Lynette just explained, the system's cracks are widening, the signs are everywhere, and protecting yourself with real assets has never been more critical. If you found value in this interview, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful insights, and don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss an update from Lynette Zang and our channel. Stay informed. Stay prepared.